What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Closer to Home podcast, where we talk about all things culture through the lens of being a believer. I'm Chuck.
I'm Rocky. This episode 6.
Now we back in church. That's where we need to be.
Yes, sir.
Shit, talking right. Real right. 12 tribes posted at the gates. Watches on the wall, got that Jasper on the face. Revelation takeaways. This is just the welcome, but you gotta keep the faith to stay. Feeling like Kobe on the breakaway. Like I've been writing rhymes on a paper plane. Waiting on the Lord till he make a way. Why these hooks got them reaching for the skies like Kareem? I'm too different. Different for this world like a dean. Too much scripture for this world to try to shackle up my soul. With my back against the wall, I get back up with my bros. See the jackal in the field, I can't tackle this alone. First Adam in the grave, second Adam on the throne.
Yo, all right, what's going on, y'all? Here's what the deal is. Today, we're going to be talking about stewardship, biblical stewardship, and stewardship in general. But I'm going to start off by giving a definition so we all are on the same page about what it is that we're getting into. So, my good old man Webster defines stewardship as the job of supervising or taking care of something such as an organization or property.
I thought you was going to have your own definition. Like you read that going straight off.
I flew the groove.
Straight off Google.
I flew it.
Nah, that's crazy. Wait, read it one more time. Read it one more time.
All right. It's the job of supervising or taking care of something such as an organization or property.
Okay. Now, explain to me why that's important, like biblically.
Okay, that's a good question. So the reason that stewardship is important biblically because God owns everything.
Yeah.
He literally owns everything. And we know at the very beginning in Genesis, God said, hey, look, my boy, Adam, all of this that's on the earth, you got it.
Facts.
Okay? And so that means that Adam was now a steward over all of the earth. Now, the reason that is important is because we are man. Yeah. Adam, we come from Adam, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we have the same stewardship and the same responsibilities as Adam does.
Facts. And I think the issue is that we don't understand that. That's what we don't comprehend, is that we have the same stewardship that Adam has.
Word.
Just like God has the same ownership that he's always had.
That he's always had.
But the thing is, we do, especially men, we tend to believe that we own stuff. Like, this is my business. This is my family. This is my ministry.
Yeah, that's for me and mine.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is like, especially like Christians, they'll own stuff, but they'll still be praying that God gives them more things to steward.
Okay.
But you can't do that because, like, if you are the owner, then you're responsible for the increase. So you can't be the owner and then still ask someone else to increase. Like, no, like if you were the steward, if you were just the manager, then yes, it's almost like if you were like, let's say I'm working at McDonald's, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mopped the floor but didn't put a caution thing out. Someone slipped and fell.
Yeah.
Like if that happened and there was like a lawsuit, the lawsuit wouldn't fall on me.
Yeah.
I'm just the steward. I'm just the manager. I just work here.
Wade versus Rocky.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Wade versus McDonald's.
Literally, it goes above my
versus
head.
Ronald.
Versus Ronald. Well, Ray Kroc, but still. But that's how people have to understand. Like, it doesn't fall on you. But if you want to play owner, then in that case, like, it would fall on you. So you can't sit there and say like, God, like, give me more things to steward and then try to play owner. Because he's like, no, like, if you want to play owner, then the increase relies on you and the liability falls on you. The maintenance falls on you. The responsibilities of everything that you say that you own falls on you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I think that is so beautiful because even in that analogy that you just gave, there comes a time where when the owner reaches a point of frustration or however it is that they feel, they're like, you know what, I'm going to step in, assert my dominance, and that's a wrap. But with God, he has given us full 100% free will. So you have the free will to do what it is as you please, but you're still a steward over the things it is that he's giving you. But he's also giving you the opportunity to throw it all away, to mess it all up. And he would like for you to read his rules and guidelines and come back to him and ask if this is okay, or how you would like this, or how can we plan for growth or increase in the future. But if you don't, he's giving you full reign to have 100% stewardship over what's going on. So in a sense, we have a managerial role over our lives, right?
Yeah.
And what it is inside of the physical, a landlord or an owner of a crib would step in and be like, yo, like, that's it, no more, that's a wrap. But again, God gives us full 100% freedom. And that's how, when people say, like, how is God the King of Kings and the King of everything, but they say the earth is the devil's playground. But it's like Adam had 100% stewardship over the earth.
Yeah.
But he gave that up. You know what I'm saying? He didn't steward it well. He fell into sin and gave it over to the enemy.
Yeah.
And so that's where it is that we see that God is still a gentleman. He'll never force his will upon you, but he will always be there when you seek him. Knocking, he'll always answer. And so he's always there. But where we see at Adam having full 100% ownership, not stewardship, full 100% stewardship over his life and dominion over the earth, he squanders it. And so that's why I think it's the most important part to start with, because this is the first example of stewardship that we've seen done in the Bible.
If someone is staying in a house that I own and you're just like renting it, like if you're not doing, like, if you're going against the contract, if you're breaching the contract, I can kick you out because I own it. Like even Adam, like in the contract, I said you will have dominion over the earth. You can eat freely of all the fruits except from this tree. Like you breached the contract. Yeah. So because you breached the contract, you got to get kicked out. So that right there shows the difference between being the owner and being the steward. Yeah. And like I said, when you are the owner is the one that is responsible for what comes with it. So like, let's say if you were renting the house and you were the one that like bursted all the pipes under the house, like you were doing something reckless. Yeah. And maybe you tried to build a pool without telling me, and by digging into the ground you messed something up. Like
my homie with the excavator.
Yeah, like I'm responsible as the owner to fix it. But you gotta go. Word. So like just like Adam, like you ate from that fruit, you gotta go.
So there was consequences for
yes. Yeah. But as the owner, as God, I'm responsible for fixing it. So now I got to come down in human form and die because of what you did, because I'm the owner. If Adam was the owner, Adam, you got to fix this. You got to get us out of sin. But you're not the owner.
Oh my gosh, bro. And it's so crazy because so even remember that last episode you're talking about the dude who does all of the preachers can preach anything. Yeah. And people are below the comments saying like, oh yeah, I couldn't rock with a God that does this. And people's favorite argument when they talk to me, I don't know why, but they always say like, so you telling me you serve a God that put a tree that would kill his creation in the middle of and I was just like, all right, let's just slow walk this all the way back, yo. Because you're upset that God had rules and regulations. First off, there was a garden. There was a line of trees. There was a few flowers. It was a garden.
Freely eat all fruit. You can except from the one tree.
All fruit except from one tree. And it's like what happens is God said, yo, here's all the things that you can do. Here's the one thing I don't need you to do. Here's the one thing you should not do. Because if you do this, you will indeed die. You will surely die. Yeah. And what happens is people seem to think like, oh, okay, so this was an evil tree. And it's like, no, the tree was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Yeah. The tree wasn't even inherently bad itself. But the tree was against what it is that God had asked them to do. Yeah. God wanted them, and I believe that God wanted them to get their understanding and their faith from him. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, but if you go to this tree for your knowledge, You know what I'm saying? Like you have faith in that.
Literally, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I wanted to kind of go back to like the because I had a story I wanted to tell about just if you're not stewarding something correctly, like it'll be taken from you because you can't be trusted with it. I remember this was it 2021, and I hired this person to work under me, and she literally was just not good at her job. She worked in Monmouth County, and that was like literally like an hour drive. So
don't drop her name. I know.
I'm not doing that job. But it was like an hour drive, and all the work that I had in that county, I just didn't feel like driving out there, so I would just give it to her. And she just was doing it wrong. And I had a contract with this title company, and they would just be hitting me up like, yo, like we got the work, and there's just a bunch of mistakes on it, and like I'm costing them hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Jeez.
And she kept messing up, and then they ended up like saying like, yo, we gotta put you on probation, like we're not giving you no work for 3 months. So like I basically stewarded what they gave me wrong. They gave me this county, the area to steward, and I stewarded it wrong, and they put me on probation for 3 months. Like they just took it from me. And then when they finally gave it back after 3 months, they started giving me work. Every time they gave me work in that county, I took the hour drive. Like I just went up there and did the work myself because I knew I could do it right.
Dang.
She called me like, yo, I ain't getting no work in mad long. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, I can't trust you with the work that I was giving you. Like, I gave you this work. You stewarded it incorrectly. It falls on me. I'm the owner.
Yeah.
So, like, because of that, I have to take it from you. And I have to deal with the consequences. I got to make the adjustments. You just a steward.
Dang.
So, yeah, bro. Like, that's really, like, what it is. But it goes back to, like, you have to have the different mindset. You have to have that mindset of, like, yo, like, I'm just a steward. If she understood that mindset of, like, yo, I'm stewarding something that someone else owns, and I don't want to mishandle what this person owns, then she probably would have been more mindful of it. But, like, didn't really care. Yeah. It's not going to fall on me, you know. Right. But that's the mindset that you have to have. I actually want to read this scripture about just the mindset that we have to have as stewards. This is what makes us better stewards. I got to read it. It's in 1 Corinthians 3, I think. Let me make sure. Yeah, see? There we go. 1 Corinthians 3. I'm going to read a little bit. Get your Bible. It's 4 to 9. Yeah. It says, so just to kind of give context, like this is Paul writing to this church because there's like people in the church that are like questioning like, yo, should we follow Paul? Like Paul telling us to do this. Should we follow Apollos? Because Apollos is telling us to do this. And then this is what Paul tells them. He says, when one of you says, I'm a follower of Paul, and another says, I'm a follower of Apollos, aren't you acting just like the world? After all, who is Apollos? Who is Paul? We are only God's servants. In other words, like we're just stewards. Like we're just stewards. And it says, through whom you believe the good news. Each of us did the work the Lord gave us. I planted the seed in your hearts, and Apollos watered it. Like that's the stewardship. That's the managing. Like we just stewarded. And it says, but God is the one that made it grow. It's not important who does the planting or who does the watering. What is important is that God makes the seed grow. So like that right there is like having the mindset of I'm just a steward. Yeah. Like I'm a steward. Apollos is a steward. God's the owner. He's the one that's making all of this grow, just like he can make it die. Like we're just stewards. He could have told them like, "Oh, follow me," or follow both of us. Like we both saying the same. But like he already knew like, yo, like don't follow me or him, because like we're just stewards. And then it actually goes on to say like, and we're both going to be rewarded for our work. So it's like if you steward well, God will reward you. So if people want to understand like how to be good stewards, like first understand that you're just a steward. Paul knew like, yo, don't even follow me. I'm just a steward. Yeah. I don't own nothing. Like we don't own nothing. Our cribs, our cars, our families, our ministries, our businesses, like we don't own nothing. It's all God's. We're just stewards. We're just planting. We're just watering. So when you have that mindset and you understand that the only way that this is going to grow is if God waters it, then that's how you become great stewards. And then not only that, but also like understand when God does give you more things to steward, look at how it comes, right? Because like I love that there's so many times in the Bible where when it talks about stewardship, it talks about plants. Okay. Because when you plant things, it comes as a seed. I can't say, God, like, give me more things to steward and expect him to give me a watermelon.
Okay.
He's going to give me the seed, and I got to do the planting and the watering. I got to steward it well. Okay. So I can't get mad when he gave me a seed and I'm not planting or watering and feeling like he's not, giving me anything to steward. Like, no, like, I'm not stewarding it well. He's giving seeds. So sometimes you got to just look small. Like, what does that seed look like? He might not give you a business to steward. That's the watermelon. He might just be telling you steward yourself.
Wow.
If you just work on yourself, it might turn into a business. You might get the business. You might get the relationship. You might get the family. Wow. But it starts small.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it's almost like work on your own punctuality of showing up to work on time. Because it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, once you have that self-discipline within yourself, you know what I'm saying, then you're able to show up to work to help somebody else. And then certain things like that is kind of where you grow and you get a certain mindset of, you know what I'm saying, working for somebody and knowing what it feels like to be late. And so when you're on the opposite end of owning a business and being like, yo, I know it's hard to get up, but like, I do it. So you know what I'm saying? Like, you should be able to too. And it's crazy, just like you were saying, like Paul was in that position, right? So he's writing this letter to Corinth, and he's literally has the opportunity to say, I'm God, I'm him, follow me. Like, I'm Timothy, for real. Like, come on, like, rock with me. And he doesn't. And I feel like that is a big problem that we see today inside of mega churches and big churches. When there are two big problems. It's
Talk
when
about it.
It's when these huge churches try to put a crown on whatever the leader is, and then the second problem is when that leader try to wear it. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's not true. Like, it's not meant for you. It was never you. You know what I'm saying? It was never you. But Paul's humility inside that place of saying, like, yo, like, this, it has nothing to do with me. We all preaching Bible. We all preaching Jesus. We're all preaching salvation. Follow me as I follow Christ. Not just follow me because I'm, I know where I'm going. It's follow me as I follow Christ. And it's like, I am to be an example of a more example so that you can understand this is what it looks like. Because I had in a firsthand account, a witness to Jesus in his ministry. Yeah.
And I think the whole like mega church thing is what's going to like steer people away from stewarding correctly, because that's when you start to put when you put people on pedestals that are also like, even a pastor is still a steward. Now, if he's putting himself on a pedestal, he's pretending to be God, then he's a bad steward, but he's still a steward. Facts. So if you're putting him on a pedestal, but you're still praying to God to give you something, God might be like, all right, you might not look at yourself like the owner, but you looking at to him like one. Yeah. So ask him for the increase and see what he give you. So it's like, you really have to be careful of
idolatry.
How much time we got? Yo.
I'll jump back into my favorite book. We'll be back into the Bible, where there is a parable, an actual story, to where Jesus is talking about three men. So there's basically an owner and he has servants, and he's going on a long trip, and so he gives three servants. His first servant, he gives 5 bags of silver. His second servant, he gives him 2 bags of silver, and then the third servant, he gives 1 bag of silver. And it says that he gave all of them the bags of silver, or the talents, according to their ability. And we'll circle around back to that later. So what happens is the boss goes on a trip. He comes back, and when he gets back from the trip, he's like, all right, what y'all do with the money? So the first servant is like, my God, here's what I did. I doubled it. You know what I'm saying? Shouts to the increase. And it says that the master says, well done, my good and faithful servant. Let's celebrate. The second servant, he has two bags of silver. He's like, yo, I doubled it. Master goes, well done, my good and faithful servant. Let's celebrate. You know what I'm saying? And the third servant, he says, he's like, all right, what you do with the bread? And he's like, well, I knew you was a wicked man. You was a harsh man. And just starts talking over it. I knew you was a harsh man, and you harvest crops that you didn't plant, all this other stuff. And he was like, so I dug a hole and I put your money in the ground. So here's your money back. And the boss goes like, bro, you're a wicked man. Like, what are you talking about? Like, if you knew that, all of these things about me, why didn't you at least put my money inside of a bank so that it would accrue some interest, so that at least you could have something? Because, you know what I'm saying, he ended up letting everybody else keep their bread. You know what I'm saying? Like, they made money off of just stewarding well what it is that they had. And this one dude just ended up being like, I stuck the money in the ground. So in my opinion, I felt like he may have even not put that money in the bank because maybe he wasn't even sure the owner would come back. You know what I'm saying? I think maybe the money leaves if he puts it in a bank, there's a paper trail about it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many things of like just showing like he didn't have faith in what it was that was going on. Like obviously these other two was like, you know what, I can make something shake. Second boy was like, I can make something shake. He was like, I don't know. Like I really don't know what I can do with this. So he takes it and he hides it. He literally digs it in the ground, buries it, and then when the master comes, he pulls it right back out. And so when the parable says that he gave each one of them their bags according to their own abilities, we see there that there's a significance of that, obviously, right? Because the first guy doubles his money, the second guy doubles his money, but the third dude doesn't. And I believe that can be representative of how people steward the gifts that God gives them inside of life.
I think something that I take from that is the fact that two of them just focused on the gifts. And that's why they were able to make an increase out of it. The third person, he was thinking about the wickedness and the corruption and all these things. And that's what took him away from even thinking about what he can do with his gift. And I think that may take into, like, that plays a role in why we steward things incorrectly. Because, like, we can be good at singing, dancing, business, something like that. But instead of thinking about the gift that God has given us and just trying to steward it well, we might think about, like, our family can't be trusted, or our friends can't be trusted, or
worry about the wrong things.
Worry about the wrong things, and we're letting all this time pass, and we're letting all these opportunities pass, and then, like, when all this time passing, God's like, yo, like, what you do with the gift I give you? And it's like, well, I didn't want to invest it here because so and so been doing, and it's like, if you would have just focused on the gift, it would have already doubled. You see what I'm saying?
Dang. Or accrue some sort of interest.
Dang.
It's like this little light of mine. For real. It's like you got a light and like God is literally like, yo, like, let this joint shine. Like, this is literally what I've called you and asked you to do. But you out here trying to hide it under a bush and do something crazy with it.
Facts. Yeah, nah. This is a good episode. I just want to reiterate, like, when it comes to stewardship, it's important to understand that God owns everything. We're just stewards. And because God owns everything, he also has a responsibility to what he owns. So everything that we are stewarding, when we're struggling with it, when we're confused, like anything that we're going through, like, we don't have to just look to God to give us more things to steward. He can help us in the things that we're stewarding now.
Wow.
Because he has ownership in that. He's not going to give you a ministry, give you a family, give you a business or anything like that, and as you're stewarding it, you're struggling. I gave it to you. It's my response. I can't give you something to steward and watch it burn. He has responsibilities to that. So you'll have a lot of success in stewarding the things that you have when you rely on the person who owns it. So yeah, but y'all know what it is. Make sure y'all soil rich.
That's honesty. Foundation still strong as armor swings. You tell me God ain't real but can't promise me. Yeah, I remember dying in the pit. Now I'm walking on the water like I'm Simon out the ship. Yeah.